Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm really happy to see all of you here. It's so important that we're taking time and space for ourselves. I know there's kind of everywhere we turn, the phrase or the language like unprecedented feels like I've heard it a lot, but it still feels true. And so here we are on our spring break. I mean, I guess it's not a bad thing that we're on our spring break taking care of ourselves, right? I wish it were under different circumstances, but this is the right thing to do, and I think the right place for us to be. My name is Alan Brown. I work as the Director of Integrative Learning at Grace Church School. I'll say a few things about this call, and then Crystal can introduce herself and will guide us in an opening practice. The real intention for us for this session is that this is for you. This isn't to worry about how you're going to teach something to someone else. This is just like the you that shows up in a room when you go back to when school opens, or perhaps for some of you, school is actually still open now. I know we're not all on the same calendar, but how we're showing up with students changes based on who we are and how we're taking care of ourselves. And this time is really to have an experience. It's not a thinking experience. It's really like an experience in your body. So most people, I think, have already done it. We've gotten your names there and your school, which is great. I always like to include my pronouns. At the very least, when we move into breakout rooms, we'll ask that you, I'm sure not just your name, but your pronouns as a helpful equity practice. We are recording right now. The call will include some discussion, including small group and large group discussion. I just want to share that we're going to record the practices so that they could be made available to other people, but not the discussions themselves. So you can feel free to show up as a human being to this call and not have to worry about broadcasting to your peers what it is that is on your mind and your heart right now, because it's a lot to take care of ourselves. And I've been on Zoom a lot. I think we all have. I've been getting used to some new streaming formats. This morning I did my first Facebook Live because Zoom could only hold 1,000 people, and so we're doing a call of mindfulness for kids that 13,000 people tried to show up on, so we needed to change that. So it's a time of a lot of learning, but this time, just let it be for you, regardless of, yes, there's a digital connection happening here, but hopefully it's the human connection. That's what we've really come here for. So having said that, just wanted to, I think that covers it for now. I'll turn it over to Crystal for our opening practice. Hi, Crystal.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is so heartening to see you all here. I am one of the health educators at the Dalton School. I also happen to teach yoga and mindfulness, and Alan and I actually know each other from our world of educating educators with mindfulness practices for both themselves and their students. And this, for me, when I think of self-care, I feel like it is the time in my day. It's a whole suite of practices that ultimately are being employed to cultivate wholeness, right? We're all born with this inherent capacity to be whole, right? We're dimensional. We have parts, we have bodies, we have minds, we have, an emotional life. Some might even believe that we have a spiritual life, but something gives our life meaning, right? And these elements often during times like this, they get fragmented, right? And we're very, very either caught up in our mental space or very emotional. And so I hope that what we'll do in just a moment which is actually we'll be employing our bodies as well as our minds, but really starting to use our actual physical resources to support us, right? To find that wholeness, right? To bring our bodies and minds and hearts and spirits back into balance. So that said, what I'd love for you to do, and this might be tricky for some of you just based on what I'm seeing in some of the pictures, but try to find a seat in a chair. If you have a chair nearby that you can just grab really quick, that'd be great. It's not a requirement, but we're going to do some movement that's mostly chair-based. And if If you're on a soft surface like a couch, you might sink in and it may not be as effective. So I'll just give you like a second to situate yourself if that's a possibility for you. And if not, we're all educators, right? We know how to respond in the moment, okay? All right, so I'm gonna pull my chair back a little bit so you can see me. And the first thing I'd like you to do is come towards the edge of your seat so that your pelvis is really sitting right on top of itself, right? So again, if you're in a chair that's not soft, it probably will be a lot easier to sense like these bones at the base of your pelvis, right? Those are your sits bones. So take a moment, maybe rock back and forward and just see that you are sitting right on top of your sits bones. And when you are, you'll notice that you get as tall as your body will allow, right? Without adding any other effort, right? Good. And then once you have that, just let your hands gently rest on your thighs. And I'm going to invite you to close your eyes, but you don't have to. You can keep your chin lifted and just cast your gaze gently down. But the idea here is to take a moment and take some time in. Because when it comes to taking care of ourselves, it's really hard to know what we might need if we don't pause to just notice what is actually happening. So you might start at the very top of your head and just make your way gradually down through your body, noting any physical sensations. And you don't have to feel, compelled to change any of the things that you feel, but just notice what is actually arising within you. You might even notice that there are feelings, like emotional sensations. And if you get to a place in the body where you feel those sensations are very clear, really obvious, you might just pause and be curious, right? Pause and be curious about what's happening and just gently observe without judging or changing, but just noticing. And then see if you can keep part of your attention drawn in the way you have it now. But as you crack your eyes open and start to take in the room, right, notice that attention inward starts to get pulled out, right? Maybe it'll get pulled into the images of the other people on this call, but see if you can keep part of your attention inward as we continue. All right, now interlace your fingers like this. Good, and then flip your palms and then squeeze your elbows straight. So reach your arms out in front of you and keep that sort of bind to the hands. On an inhale, stretch your arms up. Right, and imagine there's like a brick on the tops of your palms and you don't want it to fall on your head. So you're really gonna press up high and reach up out of the sits bones we just found a moment ago. Get really, really long through the spine. Good, and then very gently bring your arms down as you exhale. Good, and we'll continue like that for just a few more rounds. Inhale, stretch the arms up, get long through the inner elbow and the spine. Use the strength of your arms to get taller. Good, and then as you exhale, bring those arms back down. Good, two more. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, release the arms down. Good, one more time. Inhale, stretch the arms up. Good, and then this time as you bring the arms down, just bring the palms to rest on your heart. And this will kind of be a home base. So just take a moment again, maybe close the eyes, maybe not, but check in, right? Just to notice what has shifted just as a result of that gentle stretch. And then gently open the eyes if they're closed. Good, and we're gonna do a chair sun salute now, okay? And so it'll be a modified sun salutation to continue this linking our breath with movement. On an inhale, stretch your arms all the way up overhead. And even though your fingers aren't interlaced, still find that reach through the arms, that strong reach. Then take the right palm to the outside of your chair, or maybe even it touches the leg, okay? And then stretch up and over to the right, and so of course I'm mirroring you. And then see if you can make sure that the left side of your hip stays rooted in that chair. Good. Then inhale, bring the palms up, look up and touch the palms. As you exhale, take the left hand outside the left leg of the chair and stretch up and over to the left. Keep the right hip rooted. Good. Inhale, palms touch. As you exhale, and I'm going to disappear a little bit, as you exhale, fold forward over your legs and let your head drop, let your hands touch your toes. Let the whole body kind of dangle over the thighs here. And then on an inhale, lift your heart up, take your hands right to the tops of your knees, and then arch your spine up. Find a gentle back bend. As you exhale, re-round the spine and then fold over the legs again. Inhale, stretch through the center, reach the arms all the way up, get tall. Good, and then exhale, bring the palms back down to the heart. Take a moment, take a breath in and out. Good, 2 more like that. Inhale, stretch the arms out. Exhale, stretch to the right. Inhale, palms touch. And exhale, stretch to the left. Inhale, palms touch. As you exhale, fold forward over your legs, touch the toes, round the back, drop your head. Inhale, hands on knees, arch up, look up. Exhale, re-round the spine and fold over your legs. Inhale, stretch the arms up and look up. Exhale, bring the palms down through the heart. Good, 1 more time like that. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, stretch to the right. Inhale. Exhale, stretch left. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Drop the head, touch the toes. Inhale, hands on thighs, look up. And exhale, round the spine. Inhale, reach up to the sky. And exhale, bring the palms to touch at the heart and close your eyes. And then take a really quick scan through the body again, like we did earlier. And just notice what is arising now. And then gently open the eyes, lift your elbows up, right? So it's almost like we've got little robot arms here. So finding a 90-degree angle at the elbow and the forearm, or at the elbow between the forearm and the upper arm. Good, on your inhale, open across the chest and squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other behind you. Yeah, and feel that nice width opening, that opening across the chest. As you exhale, squeeze the elbows towards each other. Good, inhale, open the arms. Squeeze those shoulder blades towards each other. And exhale, squeeze the elbows together and then feel the broadening across the back. Good, 1 more time. Good, and exhale, squeeze. But now this time we're going to open and then we're going to switch it up a little bit. So open your arms and then release your hands behind you. Now, this is where a chair will come in handy, but again, you don't actually have to have one, okay? So if you do have a chair, take your hands towards the top edges of the back of the chair, right, those 2 corners, and then scoot your tail forward in your seat so you can lean forward. So it's like your arms are catching you before you fall. So the arms should be straight. Now, if you don't have a chair, you can interlace your fingers behind you like that, and then squeeze the arms as straight as is available to you, okay? Good, and then take a big breath in across the chest, and just gently release the breath and soften the shoulder blades down your back. Good, again, breathe in, and breathe out. Good, and then slowly let your arms slide down behind you. Good, and then we're gonna turn our bodies and our seat towards the right. Okay. Now, if you don't have a chair with a back rim, you might actually just stay seated forward, and we're all gonna turn to the right. And your job, if you don't have a back rim of a chair, is to just put your hands on something that'll help you create resistance, like the side of your chair, okay? You can take one hand to the knee and one hand to the side of your chair and then twist, okay? If you do have a chair with a back, take an inhale, reach the arms up. And as you exhale, twist to the back edge of the chair, take your hands to those two corners, and then take a big breath in, get long through the top of the head, and cinch your navel towards the spine as you twist a little deeper towards the back of the chair. Good. Take a big breath in, get tall, and exhale, twist a little more. Then one more time, breathe in. And then as you breathe out, de-rotate, and then pause, okay? And then scoot your tail towards the edge of the chair again. And we're just gonna lean back, like we're, on an incline, trying to recline, like we're in a recliner, okay? And then you can take your hands to the back of the chair and use them for support. But hopefully everyone can feel their abdominals turning on, right? So that's the point of this. This is like a variation of boat pose, right? So feel your belly engaging. And then some of you might want to challenge yourself. You can stretch your hands straight forward, do no-handed boat. All right, another option would be to pick a leg up, right? To increase the level of difficulty, maybe put that leg down, pick the other one up. And we're gonna hang out here for just a couple more cycles of breath. So maybe experiment and find the boat that works for you. You might even take two legs up. I don't know, that's if you're feeling frisky. Pull the belly in, take a big breath in. And then as you breathe out, release everything down. Good. And then turn your body to prepare for a twist in the other direction, whichever one you took. So on an inhale, get tall through the spine. Reach the arms up and find the back edge of the chair. If you have a back to your chair. Again, if you don't, take one hand outside the knee, the other hand on the side of the chair, and then find the twist this way. Okay, good. And then again, everybody grow tall as you breathe in. As you exhale, twist a little bit deeper. Inhaling to lengthen up. Exhaling to twist. Inhale one more time. And then as you exhale, de-rotate, come all the way back to the center. Great. Now I'm gonna come a little closer again. Interlace your fingers again. Okay, just so you know, this is what we're gonna do, but I want you to do it behind your back. So some of you may have already done that. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Yeah. And then take those hands, actually, it'll look like this, right? So you're gonna take your hand right outside, with that interlacing outside the right side of your waist. Yeah, and for some of us to find that bind, right, you might notice that your right shoulder is really shrugging up towards the ears, right? So see if you can soften the shoulders down, and then just imagine a really nice, broad, open heart, right? Good, and then from here, you're just gonna gently drop your right ear to the right shoulder. And take a couple cycles of breath right along the left side of your neck. And just notice what that feels like. Good, and now imagine there's a little marker, a little Sharpie poking out of your chin, okay? And you're gonna very gently turn your chin in the direction of the edge of the end of the right collarbone. And then draw a line like you're trying to trace the collarbone with your chin with that marker. Go very slow. And you might pause and notice that there are some little tender tissues somewhere along the way. Keep breathing and go very slow until you make your way. Your chin will find center of the collarbone, and just pause with your head gently drop down. Notice if your shoulders are shrugging towards the ears and soften those down. And then very gently lift the chin. Good. And then release your hands. Take your arms out wide and just rotate. I'm rotating my palms up and down like that, right? Just to get some blood flow back in the shoulders. Yeah. Good. And then same thing on the second side. So interlace your fingers behind you and then take your hands outside, this time on the outside of the left side of the waist. Good. And then from here, just drop the your left ear to the left shoulder and breathe along the right side of your neck. All right, and just note that when we do these shapes and stretches and poses, right, especially when we're doing it for the purpose of self-care, the idea is to really just to become aware of what is actually happening. Right? What is our state? Good. And then very gently tilt your chin down and start to draw very slowly that line along the collarbones. And just lingering, and you feel any tenderness in the tissues. And then when you get to center, pause for just a moment, letting the weight of your head just drop. And then gently start to lift the head. And then release your hands. And then we'll do one last little self-care practice. So we're gonna rub your hands together and create some heat between your hands. Yeah, good. And now take your hands to the sides of your neck. And you might have really tender trapezius. Mine actually aren't so tender these days because I'm not going to the gym. But right, allow your hands to massage in either a more vigorous way or gentle way, right? Whatever your body might need. Right. And then you can start to take that massage to other places in your body, right? Just a very gentle self-massage. Right? You might have some tension in the shoulders. Okay, I always have tenderness in my low back, so I'm going to linger there for a little bit. And when you're done, let your hands rest on your thighs and let the eyes close again or gently cast that gaze down, whatever is most comfortable for you. And check in again, noticing how you feel now. And when you're ready, gently open the eyes. So sometimes when we imagine what self-care looks like, especially when we have access to all of our devices and the variety of our lives, right? We do tend to think like it costs a lot of money to take care of ourselves. We need a lot of time. And in fact, all we used just now was our body and our breath and our attention. And we carry these with us wherever we are. Right? So just notice how you might feel differently, and it only took a matter of minutes. Okay, so we will pause there. Alan.
Thanks, Crystal.
You're very welcome.
So we did this on purpose, starting with the body, because that tends to be the first place that we as animals, as human creatures, where that registers, where the fight or flight system shows up. And we often want to think our way out of what's happening when it's a situation of overwhelm or a lot going on. But often we need to feel our way there first. I'm going to offer some more thoughts, just kind of our framing of self-care in a moment. But I'd like to invite you in the chat, if you would you mind just sharing something that you've been doing to take care of yourself in the past week or so? I'll just give some hold time, especially if you're just learning Zoom and maybe are going to become more familiar with it. Hold time is always, it's always more hold time than you think or need. So just read some of these for the recording. Just seeing a lot of exercise, movement outside, dancing, Peloton, meditation, dogs, cleaning, music. Yeah. What I'm so glad to see is that you have an answer to that question. There's at least something. And it's really important to kind of name or celebrate that that's been happening. Like a question like, what's going well, or what are you doing for yourself? It's really important to reinforce that these are things that we're doing. And perhaps if you're having a look in the chat, you can see some other things that might inspire you. I hadn't thought of that as something that would be nourishing for me, but I'm going to try that. So certainly let the collective wisdom also inspire you. So a couple of thoughts about self-care, and if you're still writing in or finishing up, that's fine. I recently was talking with a friend of mine. She is a former monastic with Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh is a Zen Buddhist. He's a Zen master, Vietnamese Zen master, who was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize by Martin Luther King. And is extremely prolific in his writings and his teachings on everyday mindfulness, not just kind of Buddhism. And she was recounting that on 9/11, they were in the United States. They were on a tour with, they call him Thich Nhat Hanh. And so they were with Thich, and they were traveling to Berkeley. He was going to give a talk that night. And they got the news that the planes had hit the World Trade Center, and all of the things that unfolded. And all of the monastics on the bus started, oh my gosh, how are we going to respond to this? What are we going to do? We have to go, we'll go to get all of his writings, and we'll have to pull we need to get social media posts out. We need to put out resources. And they were all very fast. And so they got there, they arrived at Berkeley, and they went to their teacher, to Thich, and said, okay, we have this plan. Here's what we want to do. And he said, no, tomorrow we'll go to the beach. And they all said, no, Thich, I don't think you understand. Like, you haven't seen the news. You need to look at the images. Like, it's very bad. It's very, and feeling this sense of emergency, he says, no, tomorrow first we'll go to the beach. And this is someone who was known, the reason he was nominated for Peace Prize was for his work in the Vietnam War, and he was sort of a relentless and tireless activist. And he talks a lot about the nourishment that it requires to care for others. And so indeed, that is what they did. They spent the day on the beach. And she was recounting, my friend, this beautiful, image of there was joy, there was laughter, and that what we were able to offer to other people from a place of being nourished was fundamentally different. Because that first day, none of us felt good. We felt already depleted before it had even started, before we were out of the gate. And here we were trying to just go without any internal resources. So taking the time to be intentional and to kind of not burn out, to really resource ourselves, was the most important thing we could have done. And I was so struck by that story because it sounds so bizarre, frankly. So it's just such an odd thought, no, let's go to the beach. And maybe that's kind of the extreme view, but I think the whole purpose of this series was to say, like, how do we take some time, however small, to make sure that we're nourishing ourselves? The news is coming fast and furious, and the situation is constantly changing. And even just to go to the grocery store is all of a sudden something that feels, potentially scary. At least it was for me the last time I went. And so, are we really being intentional about how we're caring for ourselves in these times? And I want to offer that it is okay to do that, that's not a selfish act, that's actually a very, very wise act that can then allow us to show up for all the other people in our lives, including our students, our colleagues, our families, whomever else it is. So really wanting to be intentional about giving permission to be human, permission to take care of ourselves, that we cannot possibly pour from an empty cup, as it were. And so having said that, I want to draw attention specifically to something that was sort of embedded in Crystal's practice. And that was this idea of, what does it feel like right now? So even without the movement, maybe just take a second, whether you close your eyes or leave them open, and just notice one place in your body where you feel sensation. Maybe that's what it feels like for your feet to be on the floor, or for your hips or your back to connect with a chair. Does the body feel fast or slow? Does it feel tight, relaxed? Just having an awareness of what's going on for you right now. So really take a second, rather than just like thinking about it in the head, just take a second to feel it in the body. And it's not a problem what you feel. Sometimes what we notice is not pleasant. And that's okay. It just allows for us to care for what's going on. Sometimes we go so fast that we don't even notice how it feels until after we've been going and reacting to a thing we haven't even felt yet, or that hasn't registered in the body. So making sure there's enough time, enough space for a certain slowness to allow us to care for ourselves wisely. I found myself the other day, I woke up and my mind was just like really, really racing a lot. I had probably not put my phone down early enough the night before. I had refreshed the news feed too many times. And I just woke up and I didn't even know what I felt. I just knew that it didn't feel good. And so I went out for a walk. And it wasn't until I really took the time to just like put everything down, go outside, and really, I feel tight in my chest. I noticed all these feelings of worry, and I heard a couple birds actually, and that totally pulled me out of my own like inner experience and into, oh, this is where I am right now. Right now I'm here. Right now there are birds. Right now there are trees. Right now, okay, this is what's happening right now. And so we want to just really invite this sense of slowing down. And then the other thing to pull out from what Crystal did in her practice was this orientation to what is pleasant. So while we may notice that things feel unpleasant, especially in this moment, doing something that feels good as like a balance, it's not to push away what feels bad or unpleasant. Frankly, for many of us, the situation is larger than our ability to do that anyway. That stuff can be here and we can allow for that to be here. What we want to do is to have a counterbalance, a resource that can help offset. So even if that's as simple as like a warm shower or soothing touch, the squeeze or the gentle, right, that massage was really nice. That we can, again, give ourselves permission that right now this would feel good and I'm going to take some time and space to do that. So as just an orientation to kind of how we're thinking of self-care in this moment, that's what we wanted to offer.